Hey guys, it's Jen here from Nails by Jen. Welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time to my channel, welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I am doing a watch me work on this amazing client. She's been with me forever, and she actually picked the nails from Pinterest. So I Googled and searched and found who was the original artist, and his name is Zack_PN. So ZACK_PN on Instagram. He does amazing work. So I tried to recreate this design for her, and I think they turned out pretty darn good. So if this is something you're interested in, stick around, keep watching. As always, don't forget to click that like and subscribe for me. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and let's get started. Alright guys, so we are going to start off by saying goodbye to her old set. I have a watch me work video on this one as well. If you want to see that, I will put the link below for you guys. Bye bye nails. So now I'm going to start off by shortening her nails, and when I say shortening, I'm really not taking any length off. I'm just removing what the growth was, and she does not have very much growth at all, so I'm just taking that very little bit of a tip off for her. And then I'm going to debulk the nails. I'm using my 4X carbide bit. I've spoken about this before in the past in lots of my videos that I love using the 4X carbide bits. They cut through the acrylic so much easier than anything else that I have used so far. So as I said, I'm going to be debulking because the next design that we are doing on her, we are going to be encapsulating the acrylic and the glitters and everything like that. So I'm taking the product down to a very thin layer. Now if I notice any lifting while I'm doing the debulking, you can see up in her corner there's a little bit of lifting. I just take my e-file and my bit and I just lightly tap over that lifted area. You do not want to stay in the same area for a very long time, and what you'll notice is it'll start to flake out. And then if there's any little bits that are still left over that I just don't want to get with the drill because I don't want to go over that area too much and heat it up, I will just go back in with my hand file and remove that lifting as well. Now once I have debulked all 10 of the fingers and taken the product down to a thin layer, I will go in with my cuticle pusher and push back all of the ebonychiums, exposing that cuticle. As you know, we want to make sure that we get all of that cuticle off, and in a little bit I will use my e-file and my cuticle bit to remove that dead skin, or what we call the cuticle. And then I'll go in with my hand file next, and I will reshape the nails, make sure that I'm getting the shape as good as possible before I start my application. Now this is something you want to do before you're adding the application of your acrylic. This will help with filing in the end if you get the shape as good as you can prior to applying your acrylic. And I will also use the hand file to remove any little bits of lifting that are left on the nail. Now as I was filing her ring finger, there must have been a hairline crack because as I filed, we, boom, had a casualty. Man down! As you can see, I'm pausing because I'm like, what the heck just happened? So I'm going to have to form this nail, but not a big deal. Her nails are really easy to form, so I just continue on filing the rest of the nails and we have no other casualties. And next, as mentioned, I'm going in with my little cuticle bit. Now this is actually a different cuticle bit than I normally use. I'm using this one, it's called the Skyver, I believe, from the Erica company. I got it at the Pink Chair in Saskatoon. I just wanted to try it out on her. I actually still prefer the other one, but this one is really, really good if you have someone with very, very tough skin and you really need to get a lot of dead skin or dead cuticle off. These little Skyver bits, I think they're called, are very good for that. But for her, I didn't really need it. I just wanted to try it on her. So then next I'm going to go in with my 50-50 mix of 99% alcohol and 100% acetone, and I'm just getting all of the dust off the nail. And then I'm going to go in with 2 coats of my primer, and then we're ready for our application. And of course, we cannot forget I have to reform her ring finger, so I'm just going to apply the form, and then I'm going to apply a thin layer of clear acrylic, and then we are going to get ready to finally add some of the fun stuff, the colors and all of the glitter. Now before I go in with any of my colors or my glitters, I'm just going in with a small bead of clear acrylic and applying it on that naked nail, or the nail that has no color on it or no acrylic on it. And I'm just making a little barrier between the colored acrylics and the glitters and her natural nail, because when we do a fill, we do not want to have to file into her natural nail to remove the color. So when you're applying your bead of acrylic, you obviously want to make sure that it is not super, super wet. And especially if you are just a beginner, I would definitely recommend using a smaller size brush like a number 10 or 12. To be honest, I've been doing nails for 12 years and I've never needed or felt the want to use acrylic brush bigger than a size 12. So you want to make sure that you are applying the layer very thin and you are tucking it in very close to that eponychium, but not touching the skin. Alright, so we're finally going to get into applying the fun stuff, the colors. So I am using 3 custom mixes of my own. Now one of them is actually a glow in the dark, but we both forgot at the end to even see if, because we marbled it, I wasn't sure if the glow would actually come through. So I'm not sure if her nails even glow. I haven't heard anything from her thus far, but we will find out when she comes to her next appointment. And then I also am adding some GLAM and GLITS gold glitter acrylic and a raw gold glitter. So as I mentioned, the client actually picked this design, and the designer that originally created it is named Zach_PN on Instagram, and I'm going to post the picture here so you guys can see what I was referencing. It's a combination of beautiful purple marbling and gold glitters, and I absolutely loved how it turned out. So as you can see on the pinky, I started by applying the marbling in the center of the nail at a diagonal. So how I do the marbling is grabbing each bead of acrylic color and applying it on top of each other. So I applied one color, then another color on top, and then another color on top, and then dragged my brush through. And then I applied the gold from GLAM and GLITS at the cuticle area and at the tip, and then I added the raw gold glitter in between the 2 connections of the marbling and the gold glitter from GLAM and GLITS. Now something to keep in mind when you're doing the marbling, you do not want to drag your brush through the colors too much. You don't want to muck about too much. What will happen is the colors will actually start to blend rather than keeping that streaking of all the colors. So here's a close-up of how I do the marbling. I'm adding that periwinkle color first, then I'm going in with the next color, which is the brighter purple, and then I'm going in with that really bright fuchsia, and then I'm also adding a bead of white on top of that, and then I will drag my brush through, and as you can see, I just play with it just a little bit, just enough to get that marbling, and you want to keep it very thin as well. So when it comes to the different patterns on each nail, I did not copy or do exactly what Zach did. I didn't actually look at the photo after. I just kind of went on about doing the different patterns the way that I wanted to. So each nail is just slightly different, and this one you can see I kind of alternated the gold with the marble, then the gold with the marble, and at each connection between the marble and the gold from Glam and Glitz, I added that raw glitter. Now something else you also want to keep in mind when you are applying your marbling is sometimes because you're using wetter beads, the acrylic can slide to the sides of the nail. You want to make sure that you clean that up a little bit and just kind of wipe along the side, of course, where the free edge is. Now when you're working along the area where there's skin, you want to make sure that you are very, very careful not to get the product all over the skin, because as I've mentioned a million times before, we do not want to be oversaturating the skin on the client's hands with monomer. Now with the ring finger, because we rebuilt it, I wanted to utilize that glass nail effect, or a little bit of that clear part. So you will see that I applied the marbling in the middle area at the same angle. So all of the nails on each hand go at the same diagonal angle, but I also add a little bit of gold at the tip, and then I leave a little part just to have a little bit of that clear. And with the thumb, I left a very, very small area at the cuticle without any color at all. My client at one point was like, "Did you mean to do that?" And yes, I did. Now moving on to her left hand, I did the exact same designs on each finger, but I just went in the opposite direction of what I did on her right hand. So this is what we have so far. Really pretty. And as you can see on those ring fingers, there's just that little tiny bit of that glass nail peeking through. So the next step is just to simply go in and cap everything with clear. Now I generally prefer to work with the one ball method, and yes, it is possible to work on long nails like this and do one ball method with a size 10 or 12 brush. You do not need to have a massive brush. So when you are doing a one ball method with a smaller brush, you just have to make sure that your brush has a little bit of more monomer in it. So generally I tell you guys to make sure you don't have too much monomer, but when you want to pick up a really large bead of acrylic and you don't have a large brush, you just have to make sure that you have a little extra monomer in the brush, dip into the acrylic, and make sure you grab a very large bead. And it's okay if you have to go back in and grab some smaller beads to add here and there. That's absolutely fine. Okay, you guys, who else loves how their paper towel looks when they're doing acrylic? I'm obsessed with it, always. I like want to frame them sometimes, I feel like, and put them on my wall. Okay, so now I'm going in with my hand file and I am refining that shape. Again, I've mentioned in other videos, lots of nail techs prefer to use their e-file for this, but I feel like I apply my acrylic pretty darn good so that I don't have super amounts of filing to do. I do still have to file a bit just to get the shape perfected, and I love to get those sharp edges, so just take your time with this. Make sure you get everything nice and smooth, get any bumps off, and if you have not watched my videos before, the reason that I don't like to use the hand file is that I do find that it's a lot harder on my carpal tunnel than the hand file is. Now, as I was filing, I realized that she had some ledges under some of her nails just from when we formed them before. So I just went in with my favorite underneath bit that I got on eBay and just ground out any of that little bit of a ledge or lip that was under there for her. So the next step is to go in with my cuticle bit and just smoothen out that cuticle area. The reason that I do this is so that as the natural nail grows out, the cuticle area is nice and smooth. There's a nice transition between her natural nail and the product, and there's not a huge bump there. And then next I will go in with my buffer and I will buff the nail pretty smooth and get ready to apply my top coat, which my favorite top coat, as everyone knows, is the Young Nail Stain Resistant, and we get her all shined up and show you some top coat porn. Alright guys, thanks again for hanging out with me while I do another Watch Me Work video. I really loved how these turned out. I hope that I did Zach proud. I will definitely be tagging him in my photo on Instagram, and I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to share it with someone else. I want to also say a big thank you to everyone who has been watching my channel. I have reached my 4,000 subscribers a little bit ago, and now I am waiting to hear about getting monetized. So thank you to everyone for your support and for your love and for all of the kind words you sent me, and I'm just so grateful for everything that you guys have done to support me. So that being said, if you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below, and as always guys, have an amazing day.